goes low, and veers right into the wall where he was hit immediately by Eddie Cheever. Debris spewing everywhere. 5 of the cars were damaged. They couldn't avoid the mess, including Lynn St. James, Gilday Farrar, Carlos Guerrero, and Eric Bachelat. Let's take another look at the first accident of the race. You see Fox turns hard and goes right into the wall. His car splits in half. His legs were exposed. He immediately was taken to the hospital and in intensive care. Back under green, Michael Andretti makes a move on leader Arie Luyendyk. He passes Luyendyk on the straightaway. That would be the beginning of a long day for Arie as he shows his frustration, but he's still number 1. Coming out of another yellow flag, the leader, Jacques Villeneuve, failed to stay behind the pace car. They slapped him with a 2-lap penalty. That would give Michael Andretti a shot at the lead. He tries to pass the leader, Mauricio Gugelmin, and he hits the wall. The Andretti jinx continues. He would leave the race with suspension problems. Michael, needless to say, a little bitter that his day was over with. Now, 25 laps to go. Scott Goodyear goes for the lead and gets it, passing Scott Pruitt. Then with Pruitt trying to keep up with Goodyear, he loses control, spins, hits the wall. He's out of control, comes back down low, smashes into the wall there, catches on fire. Check out the guy jumping out of the tower. Smart move. Down the stretch, 11 laps remaining. Goodyear leading Villeneuve, but Goodyear makes a critical error. He would pass the pace car, and that was a big mistake because they would drop the black flag on him. His wife obviously distraught, and that would leave it for Jacques Villeneuve. He comes around the final turn in the blue Renard Ford. He becomes the first Canadian to win the Indianapolis 500. And when you win the Indianapolis 500, you know what that means. You got to drink that milk. I just hope that stuff was in a refrigerator until he drank it. So let's check out the standings. Villeneuve drove that Renard Ford an average speed of 153.616 miles per hour. He was followed by Christian Fittipaldi, Bobby Rahal, a former champion, Alicio Salazar, and Robbie Gordon. Finishing 7th, Arie Luyendyk, who started in the middle of the front row and had the best finish for the Menard team and that controversial engine, while our press box analyst and former Indian champion Danny Sullivan finished 9th. Roberto Guerrero, who started 13th, finished 12th. Brian Herta, who started 33rd and last, improved his position to 13th. And Scott Goodyear, who appeared to have the race won, ended up in 14th place.
Well, you know, Glenn, they say that your life is never the same after you win the Indy 500. Last season's Rookie of the Year has to be feeling awfully good today.
He certainly does, and our man in Victory Circle is Alan Massengale, who is with this year's Indy champion.
Okay, thanks, guys. We're here with the 1995 winner of the Indy 500, Jacques Villeneuve. I knew you had to run hard today, but did you have to expect you'd have to run after a 2-lap penalty like that?
I didn't expect that we would have to run like that. When we were 2 laps down, I didn't think we could win it, and all I was working on was getting back up through the field and getting some points in the championship. But then, you know, I'm with one of the best team, if it's not the best. It's probably the best, actually. And all the people in the team, they just work as hard as they can, and you know, I knew they were behind me, and Tony, my engineer, was coming on the radio and telling me they were behind me, and that, you know, to go for it, to really fight for it. And we made some changes on the car, and the car was really, really strong, and I could come back up through traffic, and we had a couple of lucky yellows, and we ended up on the lead lap.
Let's talk about one of those lucky yellows. You were coming in, you lost 2 spots, but then did your crew tell you yellow, 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 so you had to stay back out there, right?
Well, they did, but at the same time, when I was going to go in the pits, the yellows came, and the pits lights were the flashing yellow, so I couldn't come through the pits. So I quickly darted back out, and that's when I got overtaken. And I felt like I'd been overtaken after the yellow. But nobody got penalties, but you know, the penalties fell at the end of the race, so that was okay.
Let's talk about the restart at the end. Did you see what happened when Goodyear jumped out there? You said, oh my gosh, I think you thought that you knew that he'd jumped the pace car.
Yeah, I knew, and that, you know, I hit the brakes real hard to try not to overtake the pace car, and I managed to be barely behind it. And then there were the green lights, and he went in the pits, and then I stepped on it, but the guys behind me had already some speed. I didn't have to slow down as much, so it was really close down the straight. And you know, when you're 10 laps to the end for the win in Indy, you take you take everything there is, and you know, the other guys will have to slow down.
One final quick question, Jacques. You're 24 years old. You've won Indy. There's talk about you going on to Formula. You were 2nd here last year. Have you done all you can do with Indy cars and move on to the Formula 1 circuit?
There's always more to do. Right now we're leading the championship, and you know, we have to work on that and win some more races. And, you know, it's not because you win the Indy 500 that you can go away from Indy cars and go to F1. That won't be what will make me change my mind on staying in F1 or in Indy cars. It's just you speak with all the teams where there's a lot of interest, and then you weigh all the cars that you have and take your decision, and wherever that team is, you go with. So if it's an F1 team, you end up in F1. If it's IndyCar, it's an IndyCar. But you know, I'm with a great team, and I'm really happy with them, and I'd be happy to stay with them. You know, we just have to wait to see to have all the cards in hand.
Jacques Villeneuve, a courageous run today, a memorable run. It'll be a historical moment everybody will remember out here.
Well, there was a lot of fun, and you know, it's the first time I've had so much fun drinking milk.
Congratulations. Jacques Villeneuve, 1995 winner. They won't forget very soon what he did out here. I'm getting crowded out. Let's go back to the press box.
Better guard yourself, Alan. As we said, Villeneuve, the first Canadian to win at Indy, and he was the first driver ever to rally from 2 laps down to win the race. He was penalized 2 laps shortly after reaching the 100-mile mark for failing to fall into line behind the pace car during a yellow caution flag. However, another Canadian not so lucky, and after the race, Alan Maskill asked Scott Goodyear what happened.
Well, I guess controversy is here, but you know, it's disappointing. Maybe we're not supposed to win this race, but you know, I think the pace car has been an issue all day. Many people, even people when I was second or third in line in the queue, almost drove over the pace car, almost hit Pruitt, drove over him. But you know, the pace car was clearly out of sight, and I just don't think that when they get to turns 3 and 4 like they're supposed to, they accelerate and get out of the way. But you know, we almost hit him many times, and I almost was coming up on him very quickly. But by the time I was going around the car, from what I saw, the next light that I saw when I looked down the straight was green, so I thought the coast was clear.
Were you shocked when you got the black flag, when you saw it up there, like what in the world's going on?
I was shocked, and then you know, in disbelief. But you know, I think if a guy's out there and passing 3 or 4 cars before it goes green, I think that's a penalty. But you know, the pace car has been in a situation all day where it's been in the way. But you know, I don't know if this is going to be reversed or not. I suspect probably not.
You're going to protest it, correct?
I don't think there's a protest here. I'm not sure. I think by the rules here, I'm not sure that you can actually protest a black flag infraction. I mean that we're looking at everything right now, and you know, we'll get back here someday.
All right, we're going to head back to Alan a little bit later in the show with more on a very controversial day at the Speedway. You know, the pace car's a Corvette. Gun that thing.
Well, you know, it sounds very simple, but I tell you, it's just amazing to watch those cars and the speed that they get around the track in. Too bad the controversy comes at the end. Now, Glenn, while most of the country was focused on the Indy 500, folks down in the Lone Star State were watching a big event of their very own. The Rockets-Spurs matchup is more than a battle to see who represents the West in the NBA Finals. It's a battle of Texas. That's right. And after Game 4 today, the Rockets have the Spurs right where they want them. Houston won the first 2 games of the series in San Antonio, but nothing comes easy for the Rockets, who are more than the perfect host at home. Hey, fellas, watch what Madonna taught me. No photos, just send SI the bill. David Robinson, on the other hand, didn't mind the limelight and got